Heroes never die.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Creator Notes podcast, the podcast where we get up close and personal with your favorite creators, talking about all things content and creating. Today, we are joined by someone who does everything a content creator can do, actually, when I think about it. We have the one and only Gem. Hello, Gem.
Hello, what's up, creators and anyone else listening to the podcast? My name's Gem, pronouns are they, he, and I truly do literally everything.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it's a problem.
So it's we need to. I think we'd probably. I tried to think of, because normally I try and like get an idea of where the conversations. You're all over the place. I'm sorry. It's just,
That's fine. We can go in a
so-
timeline.
I mean, let's start at the start. I think that's the best place to start. So, how did you get into content creation, and what was that for you? Did it start with cosplay? Or, I mean,
Okay, we kind of have two prongs, which is the first prong. I started cosplaying in 2009, which is a long time.
okay.
And I've been going to conventions yearly since 2010. The only time I missed a convention was 2020 during COVID. For every year since 2010, I've been at least one. It honestly might be at least two conventions every single year.
Okay.
Initially, I was thinking about this in the shower. Initially, I started with content creation on Tumblr. I was a Tumblr creator
Oh
for
my.
a while. And I was shitposting all over the place, but mostly I had like a very aesthetic blog, and it was a music blog. And I used to
Did you have like your own web address and everything, and like?
Yeah, I HTML'd
Nice.
my thing. I like learnt a lot about the internet on Tumblr, and I used to blog about the underground emo scene in Melbourne.
It's amazing.
And the punk and hardcore scene as well. But that's initially where I started. But like, I wasn't trying to like make money. I just like wanted to make friends, and then got followers along the way.
Yeah.
And then 2017, I made a Facebook page for my cosplay because I was like, I've been doing this a while. I took a break from cosplay from like, I want to say 2014 to 2016. And then I came back in 2017. And when I went to a con, someone was like, oh, do you have like a Facebook page? And I was like, I don't have a Facebook page. I should make a Facebook page. So I made a Facebook page. And then the next year, everyone was like, do you have an Instagram? And I was like, well, I have my personal Instagram, but I don't have a cosplay Instagram. And I don't want to give you my personal life.
Yeah, I had the same thing. I'm like, it's like not my personal one. You don't want to see that. That's just food and
no
stuff.
One gets to see that. And so I made a cosplay Instagram account in 2018, and I don't know why. I don't know what compelled me, but I was like, I need to get to 1,000 followers. I was like so determined.
Nice.
I was like, I'm a goal setter, and I was like, I need to do this, and then I did it in 3 months, I think. And then I had 3K in a year, and I was just kind of popping off. And that's kind of where it began, is I wanted to share my cosplay, and I had been doing that on my Facebook page, but I also wanted to reach more people. And I had always loved like YouTubers and bloggers, and like I had followed cosplayers on their Instagrams for ages. And I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to be the people on stage, and I want to be the people guesting. I want to do all the things. So I made.
It was like the best time to get into Instagram as well. That's like the golden age of Instagram.
Oh my God. Anytime someone's like, why do you have like 12,000 followers? I'm like, I just got in at the right time and made some sort of good decisions.
Yeah, that's where all my followers are from. I haven't like, I've got a few, but I haven't got many new followers in the last 3 years, 4 years. It's like 2018, 2019 was just like, everyone was on Instagram, and it was just
good.
Great. It was so good.
I had my second like flux of followers come in 2021 when they first introduced Reels, because no one was posting on Reels. I was posting on Reels. And all of my Reels for those 6 months were 30K views and above. And some of them hit like the 300K range pretty regularly. And so I got to 10K off of Reels from that. And then I posted on Reddit a lot back in the day. I don't really do that because it's like a whole minefield and not the most fun thing.
It really is. Minefield is the right word for Reddit.
And then Reels just kind of carried me through. And I got some super cool opportunities because of that. But that's kind of like my cosplay journey for sure.
Yeah. But the cosplay, like at what point, because I know that like cosplay was sort of taken a bit of a backseat.
Yeah.
At what point did that go, hey, maybe cosplay is not all my passion right now. Maybe there's other things to it.
potentially a surprising answer. It was PAX last year. I like had a whole moment. It was like borderline a breakdown. I was like, I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore. It was mostly because of the community. I had some run-ins that I did not appreciate.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of drama I had between friends, and like there was just a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I found people being very fake in cosplay that I did not appreciate. And what would happen is I would be in cosplay and I would be talking about all of the things I did because during PAX I was still streaming, and at that point I had started casting, and so like I wanted to talk all about this stuff. But whenever I talked to not all cosplayers but a group of cosplayers, they would just ask like, "Can we collab? Can I cosplay with you? Let's like book a photo shoot together." And I'm like, "I don't know you, and I don't want to." It was very schmoozy, and I didn't like it. And then I would go talk to my streamer friends, and I'd be like, everyone is so much more mature and level-headed. And I know there are problems with streamers, but cosplayers are very like catty and like behind the back, lots of chit chat.
Yeah.
And I think now that I'm getting a little bit older and that I'm not like super young in the cosplay industry like I used to be, I think I'm just kind of sick of the nonsense. And I had so much fun casting at PAX as well that I was like, oh, this is what I want to focus on more. And I still love the art of cosplay.
Yeah.
But I'm not super into the community anymore. It just got exhausting.
Like the hustle side of stuff is really like...
Yeah, and it's expensive. Like it's so much more expensive than any other content creation except for custom keyboards. But like that's it. Like if you're a keyboard builder on YouTube, that shit is expensive. But everything else, cosplay is insane. Cosplay
is insane. And then there's like, I don't know, I'm a cosplay fan. All right, I'm not getting involved any more than that. And that's totally fine. I'd love to do cosplay stuff if like I had infinite money and time. Time has been a big issue for me. But like the amount of time that I see people like, oh my god, I can't believe they're wearing the same cosplay again. I'm like, is that what's wrong with that? It's like, how does someone afford to have a new cosplay for every day of every con? It's like, no, it's impossible.
It didn't used to be like this. I'd say this is a post-COVID thing because pre-COVID, I feel like we were more focused on making costumes, and that's the same for me.
Yeah.
I was making so much more costumes before COVID. And I mean, yeah, I hate this, like, only wear it once. I wear costumes a lot. Like I've worn 2B like at least like 15 times. Like you gotta get your money's worth. This shit is expensive.
Yes.
Like
100%. Yeah, I don't understand the I don't know, the politics of it all, really. It's
very like toddlers and tiaras is what cosplay is to me.
Oh my god. No offense, cosplayers, but you know, it is.
I love you all. I know you're like all my best friends, but sometimes it's a bit beauty contest, and I think most cosplayers would agree with that. Is it would be fun to like go back to like the art form of it, and like not, it doesn't even have to be about the crafting, but just like being a character and dressing up as your favorite character.
Just be passionate, doing something you enjoy because you're passionate about something. Like doing like fandom stuff. It's great. Just
exactly. I'm guilty of it a little bit. I always had follower goals like for a while on Instagram. Now I feel like that was me learning social media management skills, which is a whole other can of worms. But so I get it. I get the hunt of like every creator wants followers. Every creator wants to like, you know, soar to new heights. But I feel like that can't be your main reason for doing it. Yeah, in my opinion.
And it's a repeating conversation that comes up, particularly on this podcast, because we're talking with like creators that are at that sort of point where they've, you know, got a story to tell. Because there's no point bringing someone on the show who's like, I started streaming last week. I'm like, how's your week been? It's not like that. But there's so many, I suppose, and there's sort of two things to be said. First of all, good on you for recognizing that you weren't like comfortable, not happy with that, and sort of saying, oh well, I'm gonna do what's best for me rather than what's best for, you know, because you'll have people that will go, oh, I only follow you because you do this thing, and you know, it's like, doesn't matter, man. And like I had someone come up to me, he's like, oh man, you know, I've been streaming all week, I hate it. I'm like, then why do you do it? Like honestly, stop. Like, oh, I have to do it because, you know, and I'm like, no, you don't have to do anything at all, ever.
Unless you're earning a substantial amount of money and you are the sole income of your household, no, you do not need to be streaming every day.
And then whatever. Go do Uber Eats or something if you're really desperate. If it's that bad, man. Seriously. But and that brings me to the next point is, okay, so the people have all these follower goals and they're like, I need to have 20,000 followers because then I'm a real whatever. It's like, okay, so what are you going to do with your 20,000 followers? Like, like, is it about money? Is that what you want? Like, how does it work? Because
followers don't equal money all the time. They can, but
They can, but like it's not the followers though. Those followers have to interact. It's not
Yeah.
the number can be as big as ever, but if no one likes your post or comments on your post, then it's not going to do anything. Yeah.
I'll tell you why I wanted to get to 10K, because that was my biggest goal that I had from 2018. Is I was like, I'm going to get to 10K, and then I didn't really care after that, and I still haven't cared. Like as soon as I reached 10K, I was like, awesome, I did it. Because back then on Instagram, when you reach 10K, you got access to more features. This is not a thing anymore, but you couldn't post links on Instagram.
That's right.
Without having 10,000 followers, and there were some other things as well. And so I was like, I want the extra features. It was when I had a Patreon, so I needed
You need the links.
I was posting links all the time, and I was streaming too, and it was annoying to have to be like, link in my bio, like every single time I streamed. So mine was like, okay, 10K, cool number, round number, but also practicality reasons. At the time, it was every creator's goal because like you wouldn't get features. It's like on TikTok now. Obviously, we have the agencies and stuff, but if you're not going through an agency, you need those 1,000 followers to go live. It's kind of like that, but unless TikTok was like, I'm trying to think of an equivalent, because okay, in my opinion, I think TikTok followers are worth less than Instagram followers.
Yeah. I could tell you some.
It'd be comparable to like 50K on TikTok. Like you had to get 50K before you were allowed to like, I don't know, link something in your bio. That would be crazy. Anyway, that's how it used to be on Instagram.
So it's like TikTok's got, I think it's like, oh man, I'm gonna get this wrong too. Someone's gonna call me out, but it's like 10,000 followers or something, and you can gift subs. Is like the TikTok thing now.
Oh, weird. Okay.
So if you're a live stream, like if you're streaming on TikTok and whatever, it's like 1,000 unlocks like the live studio and stuff like that. But you can still do lives from your phone, kind of thing, whatever. Okay. And then at like 10,000, you're a real streamer, and they can give you things like OBS keys and like gifting subs and all that sort of stuff. But honestly, it doesn't matter. Like it's not. No. But the thing is, if you take that, okay, like honestly, if you said to me, hey, you need to hit 10,000 followers on TikTok by next week, I can do it. But it would be 12-year-olds and 11-year-olds probably, and like because like I've been doing a thing with Minecraft at the moment, and like nearly 3,000 new followers just playing Minecraft.
Nice, let's go.
Let's go, but they're all 12. Like they are 12. It's like there's no and like I'm like woo, great, engagement, whatever. It's going to help those numbers and whatever. But until you get to a point where you're like, hey, I've built a community and actually care what I'm posting, it's not worth it. And
I think I was really lucky in that regard when I first popped off with cosplay. Is that a lot of cosplayers, not so much now, but like a couple of years ago, a lot of people would complain that all their followers were really young, and it would be because they posted content from games or anime that was like trending or like things that were more recent, whereas all of my cosplays that popped off are from either things that you need to be a certain amount of maturity to play or watch, or things that are quite old. Like I used to cosplay Kasumi from Dead or Alive, the fighting game series. And so I built up this following of like all men in their mid-30s, and
I love Dead or Alive.
I remember telling people that, being like, oh, my followers are all men in their mid-30s, and they'd be like, ew. And I'm like, no, not ew. First of all, they are so much nicer than any other demographic because they have money, they have a roof over their heads, they might have like a family or whatever, but they're like
responsibilities of some form. They're normal people.
Yeah, they're normal people. So I've been blessed with a really normal community who's very, very supportive. And then like, especially when I was doing more cosplay stuff, were also supportive monetarily because they all were old enough to have big boy paying jobs and they didn't mind tipping here or there. Like my first streaming setup with my Blue Yeti, my capture card that fucked up, and a bunch of other streaming stuff was all gifted and tipped to me by my initial Twitch community I had. And it's just because I developed a community like that, and I'm very thankful for it.
I don't want to call anyone out, so I won't mention names and stuff, but I definitely know someone who built up that sort of community of like, it's just like older men, right? It's like, it's just the demographic they fell into, the games that they're playing, whatever. And like their car broke down and the community brought them a new car. And it's like, that's crazy. Yeah. It's like, and I'm like, that's crazy. And they don't even really stream that much. It was just that they built this community who actually gave a shit about their person. And, you know, when they were in trouble and they asked for help, they got help. And then on the flip side, I have a friend of mine who was at an event recently with, and they were telling me how they have like their accounts, millions. They have millions of followers on TikTok. But they're like, I can't play anything but Minecraft because they're all 12. That's it. You imagine having 1 million followers that doesn't do you any good. It's like,
that's so poopy. I at one point I I needed a new laptop because my old MacBook was shit in the bed. It was truly atrocious. And so I put up a coffee goal, being like, hey, if you want to contribute to the new laptop, go for it. Don't have to.
Yeah.
We raised like over $1,500 or something towards the laptop. Like, and there wasn't anything in return. People were just like, hope you get the new laptop.
Yeah.
Like, it was very sweet. And I feel really lucky in that regard. But I think like for me, one of the best things I've ever done as a creator is that I don't treat my followers like followers. I
Yeah.
treat them as like a community of people because they
Yeah.
are and they always have been. Like I always notice the same people in comments, and if anyone comes to my panels, you might see the same group of people in each panels and be like, "Oh, is that like Gem's family?" Like, but it's my community. They sit with each other in panels
Yeah.
together, and they go to cons together as a community, and they meet up with me as a community. And I feel like that's like the best thing I ever did.
It's worth more than 10,000 followers. That's for sure.
It is.
And
It's
I
worth
think
so
that's
much more.
yeah. And you even now like if people are like, oh yeah, I need to make so much money. Brands are noticing this stuff as well. Like they notice that
Yeah.
you've got a community, and that's worth more than X amount of numbers or whatever. And like you can fudge
Absolutely.
the numbers. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
And I think and it's again like it's a conversation that comes up so often, and people focus so much on the numbers. But there's and like I'm in this weird space where I've been going to a lot of events and stuff like that, but I also talk to a lot of people that like organize events and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, they're struggling to find the right creators because they're like they don't have time to sit down and watch their streams or know where they've come from, or whatever. And so a lot of the time, it's like, hey, you should check out X, Y, and Z, and they're like, oh, why? And they're like, well, they might only have 500 followers now, but they've also only been streaming for 6 months. And it's like these are rapidly rising, and and like one I was sitting in a room with some other creators and stuff, and we were talking about it, and like I was by far the smallest creator in the room. Yeah. But it doesn't matter because I'm in the room, right? So exactly. I've done my part. And one of the comments was that it takes so long to get to that point where you might have hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of followers and be partnered everywhere and all that sort of stuff, to the point where maybe your focus isn't doing the grind anymore, doing content creation and doing that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like I feel like once I hit 10K, I was like, awesome. And then oh god, I can't timeline. It would have been maybe 2 years after that, 2 or 3 years. Yeah. That's when I got to do just a year of guesting at pretty much every convention in Melbourne. And that was like my victory lap. I was like, fuck yeah, I did it. I got reached out to I reached out to Oz Comic Con for Cosplayer Spotlight. That was my first in oh my god, years are hard. It would have been December 2022 because they do like an Xmas. Which is fun. That one was in the showgrounds. They're no longer in the showgrounds. I feel cheated of my initial experience because the showgrounds is not the best. But that was my first, and then I got asked to do the Game Expo in its first year, and then I got asked to do Oz Comic Con Spotlight again, and then I got asked to do TriCon, and then I got asked to do AvCon in Adelaide. I think that's. Oh, I'm gonna feel so bad if I'm forgetting. But I was
trying to think if they're designing other ones.
I was a creator at DreamHack. I was a creator at PAX.
Yep.
I was a staff member for Animaga, so I did not purchase a single ticket in that year.
Yep.
But also like I was doing stuff every convention. Like I went in and I was like, if I was a creator, I would have at least one panel, like at least one. But I was usually on more stuff. But that year was my victory lap, and then when I got to the end, I was like, oh, I really like. I'll guest if someone asks to, but it's not like my number one priority anymore.
Done that now.
And when I like pivoted more into casting, I was like, oh, this is actually what I want to do. Like, for real. This is like, it makes so much sense. Like when I like after I came back from my break in cosplay, one of the big things that like brought me back was esports. I was watching a lot of Evo and like a lot of fighting game tournaments. And I was invited to BAM 2019, and I was just doing a lot of fighting game stuff, and that's how I initially got back into cosplay. And so it's always been there, the esports passion, but I just like the jump of becoming a fan to a part of it was like the hard part for me.
I always find esports is kind of that weird niche that kind of sits on that outlying kind of space. Like it doesn't quite fit in. And look, I think the Couch Warrior guys in particular just
They're the best.
They're the
Love them.
best. They work so
Shout out.
hard.
Shout out Daniel, my boss. It's good.
Daniel is a bit of a legend, yeah. But like, just the stuff that they do just seems to work, and then we have DreamHack, which is just starting to mince everything together, which is so lovely. And like, it was so big this year that it was just crazy. I don't even know how to describe it.
It was crazy, but where are the esports? Where are they? Why do we only have two? Love you, DreamHack, but I was a guest at DreamHack 2022, the first year that they changed it from Melbourne Esports Open to DreamHack.
Yeah, I was there. I was there too. I wasn't a guest, but I was there.
It was fun. And there were so many more esports, and I truly love DreamHack. And in the feedback form, I was like, love your work. Please add another one, because I was at CS like most of the weekend, and League of Legends is only one match for the whole weekend at this point. But I feel like just bring another one in. I don't even have to be involved in it. I don't care. Just bring in another esport.
It feels like because even the LAN part of DreamHack was smaller this year. And like that's where DreamHack came from. And yeah, I don't know. It just feels like the space that they've got and the way that they've set it up is kind of, they're still trying to figure out where they fit in the whole grand scheme.
Pains. I think it's growing pains from being a really successful con and having to figure out what you do. And then I'm sure as us, the Game Expo, we don't make things easier because we are very heavy on like the LAN aspect and the esports, and like we have a lot of fighting games as well. So like, I think it's hard for us to find. Okay, no, I'm going to reword that. It's not us to find an identity, but we need to like have our own individual thing that's different to the other cons. And I'm sure DreamHack are also thinking, what is our thing? Like, what is our thing that makes us different to all the other cons? Now, if you asked me in previous years, I would say esports. I wouldn't say this year that esports is what set it apart from other conventions. I feel like it was the big names that really like turned it for me. It's like having HoloLive there and Cold Ones and Trash Taste. Like, they don't even turn up to things like PAX. So I feel like
there was like I know a lot of people that are like in the space, and then there's like people that I've run into over the years, and like when I say over the years, like 10 years plus, I haven't talked to them since. They all went to DreamHack. Yeah. Cold Ones, Trash Taste. That's all they went for. That was the only reason they were there. And like they don't go to anything. They don't go PAX, nothing. But that was enough of a draw card to pull them in and do it, which is wild because like to me, I you know, no offense to other people that do podcasting, but I don't care. Like that's not a draw card for me. I went to a HoloLive. That was insane, and like now I can say I saw that. That was wild. And it was. I sucked in some fellow media people that like do like music in general and stuff like that. I said you got to check out this HoloLive thing, and they're like, why? I'm like, it's just it's big, and they took the advice. They went, they said it, and they messaged me like immediately after, like that was amazing. It's like, it's so good. And so I think like it does a lot of things right, but I feel like the whole, like it almost feels like that venue can't sustain adding more to it at this point. And I think
they need to just swap stuff around, to be honest. If I was the event manager of DreamHack, I think I would just move things. I think the expo hall being in the same part as the main stage is no. But I understand why it needs to happen. Sometimes when you do conventions, like something will happen and you're like, this is stupid, but we have no other option. Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like they need to shift something or add on an additional part of that, like Rod Laver, Margaret Court, because there's other stuff. Like there's other bits. Like you'd have to walk a bit, but like there are other bits of that area that they're not using. And it's more money, but like I think if you give the expo hall its own thing, and when you're not running League, like, okay, let's say for argument's sake, we put League on the Friday night or the Sunday night. That gives you 2 days to run something else that's an esport there. Obviously, then you don't have like Trash Station Cold Ones there. But what you could do is that they have like an after hours, or it's like DreamHack after dark. So this stuff happens like 7 p.m. onwards, but you have an esports tournament there from like 10 a.m. to like 5 p.m. or something like that. Like I think
there's definitely things they can do. And look, I put a lot of feedback because I'm very passionate about making it work because you know, I want stuff in Melbourne particularly to work because it's easy for me. But like, just, I don't know, just things like the hours and stuff that things operated, and some of the things that were on at the same time as each other, just all kind of was like a bit, I don't understand what they're doing.
Scheduling
Yeah.
is definitely a nightmare for conventions. And yeah, I just want to reiterate, I love DreamHack. I loved everything that I've attended.
Yeah.
I think there's things that literally every con could do better. I think it's just a shame to me as an esports lover that like I feel like every year there's less esports. But uh I don't know if you know this, but Overwatch Esports is now owned by ESL, who, as we know, run DreamHack. So there's a possibility. I don't actually know anything. So if anyone's like leaks, I don't actually know anything. But
No.
the Overwatch, the
It's
OWCS finals are in DreamHack Dallas, like in a week, 2 weeks. So if they can do something at DreamHack Dallas, maybe.
okay. Yeah.
Overwatch at PAX. At PAX? Oh my god! At DreamHack.
Oh well, I mean, if they do it at DreamHack, do it at PAX. Why not? Let's go. Yeah, no, but I go to as many sort of esports and stuff events as I can.
Yeah.
But like just events in general, I just feel like we have so many kind of events, and I don't. It's nice that the events are different. They don't all have to be PAX. That is my final thought on that matter. It's like they don't have to all be PAX.
I want individual identities for every convention. This is what I want. And I think we're in a better place than like a few years ago when like we literally just had anime conventions and then PAX. Like I think now what we have is far better. So we're on the right track for sure.
Well, I used to be on the path of I used to do RTX, which was in Sydney, the Rooster Teeth convention, and then EB Games Festival, and then PAX. And then as I was doing it each year, I think there was only 2 years of RTX, but like EB Festival was like a carbon copy of PAX. I'm like,
interesting.
This is great. And then the next year they just put them two together anyway because it was a carbon copy of PAX, and it's like, and now they just don't do EB Festival. It's like, okay, that's fine, whatever. But it's like, but you could see where like that time I was in the Gold Coast, so I went up to the Gold Coast. I'm like, I should have just went to PAX as well. Well, I mean, I did, but it's like this is a waste of a trip. I think I ended up playing Stardew Valley in the hotel room for almost the entire time I was up there.
Not Stardew.
Yes, Stardew.
I on my round this time, I was getting too intense with it. And I was like, okay, as soon as you finish the community center, do not open the game anymore. You're done. You're out. No more.
But there's an ending. I learned there's an ending. You can finish the game.
I know, me too. But like, I was getting like way too like 12 hours a day, like every day. I was getting I was like, it's time to go back to WoW. Okay, you can control yourself a little bit better with WoW.
It's not much better. It's not much better.
I'm pretty okay. I went through a phase where I was not doing well mentally in like January, February, and I did play WoW a fuckload. But like when I'm doing mentally well, WoW is like just a little 3-hour treat per day. Like I don't really play that much per day at the moment. I'll have like some days where I go crazy, but like I'm okay with it.
Just
I
a
have
little
moderate
3-hour treat.
Control.
Moderate. Okay. All right. Fair. Take it. Let's go back because we sort of got the timeline and stuff like that. And I also want to mention that because you've been streaming the whole time, or did you take a break before becoming a VTuber? Like, how did that all come about as well?
Yeah. So I started streaming in 2020, before COVID happened. I started streaming in January. I got gifted the camera that I have now, which I don't like, but it was good for the time. The Logitech 922, the classic, the absolute classic that everyone was like, if you stream, you need this camera. Like, if TikTok was popping back then, like, do you know what I mean? People would make videos being like,
yeah, I had it as well.
This is the only camera you should use.
You literally look up cheap, affordable, good camera. It just comes up Logitech 92022. Yeah. It's like, okay, it's all right. Problem solved. Done.
And so I got gifted that for Christmas, and I had a little Razer stupid headset with a microphone in it. And I had been a creator for like a little bit then. And I was like, I'm gonna start streaming. I really want to start streaming. I have watched streamers since it was Justin TV, like before it was Twitch. And I used to watch people play games on Ustream back in the day. So like, I'm a streamer, watcher, and enjoyer.
We used to be able to stream directly from the PlayStation to Ustream. It was awesome. It's like, well, what the fuck? That's how I learned what Ustream was. I'm like, you can stream to directly to Twitch and Ustream. That was it.
But yeah, I started in 2020, and then I streamed a lot during 2020. And then I had a little bit of a harassment issue in 2020, and so I stopped streaming regularly after that happened because it really shaked me. I had to get the police involved. It was a little bit fucked up.
Oh dear.
And then the next year, I did like here and there streams. I really wanted to go back to regular streaming, but I was like so like, if you asked me, like, are you worried about being harassed again? I'd be like, no, but like deep down in my subconscious, I really was. And then the next year when the federal election happened, I did streams with using my degree and imparting it onto others, where I ran through all of the parties listed on the
my
ballot list
God.
in Victoria, and
That's
I
amazing.
gave everyone a little lesson, and I will be bringing it back next federal election.
I'm down. That sounds awesome.
It's like a silly way to actually know, because in my opinion, you should fill out the whole ballot list if you can,
Yeah.
if you have time. I do mail-in so I can sit down and like sit with it and like whatever.
Oh my God.
But
we should get everyone to do mail-ins and at the same time.
Unironically, you don't have to have any issues in Victoria. I think you can just request a.
Yeah, you can. I do mail-ins as well.
Yeah, I always do mail-ins. But yeah, so I did that. I did the political streams, and people loved them, and they were like really silly, goofy, and I had a fun time. And then I got really into VTubers. I've been into VTubers for a long time, since like 2021, I want to say. I started watching HoloLive. But I was kind of like, oh, I can't get like the best quality model. And like for me, the 3D ones is like not the vibe I was going for. So I was like, I don't know. And then my friend Magenta, little Bink Bonk, shout out, she opened up commissions and she was like, I know you want to be a VTuber. Let's make something together. Let's like collaborate and make a character. And
cool.
And then I started being a VTuber in March of last year. And then I've never looked back, and I will never be a facecam streamer ever again.
Yeah, I've delved down that rabbit hole of VTubing stuff for a very long time, and it's amazing. My favorite thing now is just finding the most obscure looking and weird and wonderful VTubers.
Have you seen? I can't remember what her name is, but she looks like Betty Boop, and all of her stuff is in black and white.
No.
And there's like TV blips across the screen, and all of her music is like old timey music.
Love that.
So in character, and she does like a transatlantic accent. It's the best VTubing I have ever seen in my life.
All right, you're gonna have to find it and send me a link.
I will. It's so cool.
I love that stuff. So cool. It's like I saw yesterday. They were like, it was not even. It was like a bird. It was just a random bird, but it was just such a cartoon looking bird thing. But they had full movement of their head, and I couldn't figure out how they were doing it. Like they did, like turn 180 with their beak. It was all 3D. I'm like, that's so wild. But then it's like. Yeah, and then they're just like, I think they were like playing Fortnite or something, and I'm just like, this is the age. This is peak content. This is.
I know that there's like a Shiba who plays Apex. I think it's like a fully head capped Shiba Inu who just plays Apex and swears a lot. It's kind of amazing. I can't remember what their name is. It also might not be Apex. Any shooter that's not CS, Valorant, or Overwatch, my brain is like, is that
Apex.
Call of Duty? Like I don't know anything.
Yeah, I think Shelby was trying to tell me about a cockroach streamer. I'm like, that sounds good too.
That's good. That's good.
Like, it might be the thing where we're just like, I just love that. I get the I just want to be a person or whatever, but the ones that are really unhinged, I just love it so much.
They're funny.
It's so good. It's like, and it's creative stuff. And when I like was starting, when like VTubing stuff sort of took over, and I was telling people, I'm like, oh, you should see it. You can do anything. You can do anything at home. It's magic. You can do it whatever you want to be now. And like. Yeah, it was just so many things. And like for like Shelby was a great example where she's like, I hate being perceived on stream all the time. I feel like people are just staring at me or whatever. And it's like,
Shelby.
Be a VTuber. And then she went down the route of, damn, that's expensive. I'll just learn how to do it myself and started making them.
Which is baller, by the way. People who are like, oh, I can't do that. Never mind. I'm just gonna figure out how to do that myself.
Hyperfixation is what it's called.
It's good. No, I wasn't into the 3D models, and I loved the 2D ones, but those are like tens of thousands. Like those are really expensive. So I was like, okay, Magenta, let's do a PNG tuber here, and she like taught me how to use the software. And then we sat in a Discord call. We sat in 4 Discord calls for like hours and hours, coming up with like the backstory and exactly what we wanted him to look like.
Yeah, and that's cool as well. Like you have a full backstory, and like
I do. It's not relevant, and it's never been used after the debut stream, but the only thing I've used from the debut stream that like is a part of the content is that Cell, my VTuber, he lives in space.
Yeah.
And he has like magical powers.
Yeah.
And he has a rat named Wizard who is not a wizard, but he can destroy the universe. That's the only thing that's kept after the stream. Like there was lore about like a dead best friend. Like it's really intense. Like, but I was like, no, he just lives in space. That's the only thing I'm taking from this.
Just in space, just not even on a planet or anything, just in space.
I think he moves around is what I decided. He's like a magical space like professor. He's a professor and he teaches things and he knows some things about humans. But my idea of the first year, and like I think this is still in my Twitch bio, is that like Cell is coming onto Earth to actually talk to humans and get some hands-on experience with what humans are like. So the first like month of streaming, people would do things, and then I would just be like, I don't understand that because I'm not a human. Can you explain this to me? And I
It's
kind
so
of
good.
stopped doing that, but
Should bring it back.
it was a fun bit. I feel like now the way I would explain it is like he's learned now. He's been on Earth for a while, so he's more acclimated with humans. He needs less explaining to. So the
So
character is still sort of there.
I reckon you should lean into it. I reckon it's a good one. And I've found, like, particularly I've been streaming a lot on TikTok, and it's like they'll go, hey, what's your favorite obscure reference? And I'll be like, I don't know what that is. What's your favorite? Because I don't want to even try. I'm not even going to try. I just throw it back. I don't know. Just explain it to me and whatever. And then because the interactions like is gold on TikTok.
Yeah, true.
That would be just waffling on about. I have no idea what they're talking about. It's just I'm the space alien and I have no idea what TikTok is. There's two things that I want to get into before we start running out of time here. First thing is, and I feel like there's probably a question that a lot of people would come up with, is people that want to get into cosplay and casting and like all that content stuff. And I get that you've been doing it a long time because I've been doing this a long time, and I understand it's different now. But like now, what's the best thing? What should you be looking at? What should you be doing? If that's you want to do the sort of things that you do.
Okay, if you're cosplaying, literally just do it. Same with streaming, TBH. Like, make some social media accounts. Honestly, for cosplay, you don't even need to do that. But if you're streaming, I think like make some socials. Don't just have a Twitch. Build outside, and then you just kind of have to rip the band-aid off. Same with cosplay. Like, buy a cosplay. I would suggest doing something simpler at first. Like, just buy a cosplay of like an anime or a game that's like popular at the time, or something that you love that is quite simple. Like, an absolute classic is like any sort of anime with like a school uniform. That shit is like $20 and really, really simple. That's why so many people cosplay Danganronpa, because the costumes are like max like $60. They're really, really cheap. So I'd suggest doing something cheaper and easier first for cosplay. For casting, this is a difficult one because I get asked this all the time, and you have to be very forward, and you need to look for the right places to be forward, if that makes sense. Like with casting, I had co-streamed before casting, and so co-streaming is you have the game. Legally, it's not supposed to be on your stream unless the company has said otherwise. And so I would have like the timer like here on the screen. And so people could sync it with their own streams, and then we watch it together. I provide some commentary, whatever. So I did that of Overwatch, and I knew of Disconnected Esports because I have a bunch of friends who are signed with them as streamers, people like Dixon and now Eshri, who wasn't signed at the time but is now. And some other amazing people, and also like I have friends who are on their esports team, Supernova. So I knew about Disconnected Esports, and I followed them on Twitter, and they were tweeting being like, we desperately need casters. And I was like, I have never done this before. However, I have always wanted to, and I know a lot about Overwatch. I don't know if I'll be good at casting it. And so I reached out to Invertigo, shout out Invertigo, who owns Disconnected Esports, and I was like, hey, so I've literally never casted before. I would like to, if you think that I would be okay at it. And he was like, yeah, okay. Like, was kind of like, no, not really. And then 2 weeks later, he was like, you have to. We have literally no one else. You have to.
Wow.
Cast. And I was like, fuck, okay. I didn't think that they'd say yes. So I was like unprepared. And then I did it. I was shell shocked afterwards. Like, you know, when you finish a stream and you're like a little bit tired, but like you can still talk. Like, you can do whatever. The first time after casting, I literally couldn't talk for like 12 hours because it's
battery
so
entry.
much more brain intensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how is I would say look out for opportunities on Twitter. There's also some Discords that you can be in. Oh my god, what is the Discord called? I believe it's GG broadcast.gg posts opportunities being like, we need a caster for this game. It's this pay or no pay.
So it's pretty much you just like start doing it. Is pretty much what you do. Find the opportunities and start doing it. Yeah.
Casting is hard to get in. I'd also say like brush up on your game knowledge, and you can practice casting before getting into casting. Yeah. I didn't personally do that because I was embarrassed and I don't like talking to myself, and I didn't want to stream it. So I was like, I'm just going to watch a shitload of VODs because at that point I had seen every single match of the Overwatch League of the past like 6 years. So I was like, I've got a good knowledge base to work with. I just have to figure out how I want to deliver it. And then I did it. And then the second time I casted, my production team was like, "You're really good." It's like, "Oh, really?"
It's so
I
good.
thought I was shit at it. And they were like, "No, you're great. Please keep casting." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, I would say look out for esports orgs and any third-party tournaments. So third-party means it's not with the company. So don't look at things for Riot or for Blizzard. They're not gonna fucking don't even focus on that. Look at third-party stuff and smaller tournaments. I'd also recommend looking at Liquipedia of whatever esport you play because they have a list of tournaments and you can sort by region. So if you want to get involved with third-party stuff, that's a good way.
Cool.
And then if specifically you're looking at Valorant, go on VLR, my GOAT VLR, the fucking best Valorant website in the world, which has more info than Liquipedia and will give you some places to contact.
Yeah. I had an idea. I had a friend of mine years and years ago came to me and there was like a group of them and they were all casters and stuff. And they came to me because I was running ZombiesLvBacon. Used to be like quite a large community before we became more of like content creation. Anyway, they came to me like, we need Dota players because we need Dota matches to do practice our casting and stuff on. And that's excellent. I don't know anyone who plays Dota, but I'll find you 10 people and we will give you a game. And what we did was I got 10 people that never played Dota before, and we didn't tell them that was the case. So they went full casting, full serious, but we were 10 people playing the game for the first time against each other, and it's hilarious. I did. I was the worst player.
That is fucked up.
They figured it out pretty quickly because I was doing the absolutely wrong things. But they're just hearing their reactions, like they're trying to cast it, and like they're casting it, and they're like, "What is he doing? No, he's not doing that. Oh no, he's doing. Oh no." It's like,
yeah, I mean, like
brilliant.
Honestly,
it's so good.
I've talked. Oh, Kira's back. Hi, Kira. She's back for a walk. I've talked about this with Ricey a bit, and some of the production staff that we work with is that I really struggle to cast like create a showdown, stream a battle because they're not very good. Like, love you streamers, and even when they're like high rank players, they don't play how you're supposed to in a team environment. And because I do just a little casting lesson for people at home, we have play-by-play and color casting. And so play-by-play is like what you hear on the footy when they're like, "Oh, so-and-so's got the ball, he's going for the goal, he's got it." Like, that's play-by-play. That's what Ricey does, my co-caster, Profound Rice. And the guy who's like, "Okay, so the reason that they got that goal is because so-and-so passed it to this, and he was able to push him out the way. So that means that there was, like," that's what I do. So I do the analysis. And, like, play-by-play for streamers is easy because you're just like, this person did this person did this. It's a little bit out of order, but whatever. Trying to analyze what streamers do in a tournament is like, they did this because they're bad at the game. But you can't say that. So you have to be like, that was an interesting choice. Doing fun. Like, I really struggle to do it because, like, I think what I'm good at as a caster is that really intense analysis. Because when I watch casts, I like my color casters to be like, just, the meme with all the math equations. I want it to be that. Like,
you understand the plays, you understand the meta. You're like, oh, they're doing this because they're setting up for this, and that's sort of stuff.
I want to be told that. That's what I like listening to. I don't really like the color casting that's like just jokes. Like, sometimes color casting is people being like, "Haha, that was bad," or like, "That was really good, what a Chad," and then it goes back to the play-by-play. Like, that's not for me. Like, I want you to tell me why this happened and what's going to happen in the next round and, like, what to pay attention to. Like, people who watch co-streams instead of casting, unless the co-streamer is a caster, it's crazy to me. Like, I need to know what's happening, but I don't know. I know not everyone's like that, but I like that really intense analytical angle of color casting.
Yeah, and I like it when, because I don't play in much of these games, so I just don't have the time for most of them. When someone explains why they're doing stuff in detail, love that. It's the best. Like, it's like, I want to feel like I'm part of the fucking crew. I want to know what's going on.
And I would even argue most like top tier players who watch don't understand stuff that's going on. And most of the player base, like sometimes I've casted. There was one time I cast and I think it was a coach or a player manager, one of the two, messaged me and was like, Dude, your analysis was so good. I like realized that our team was doing things that they shouldn't be because of how you explained it. Like, I have things to tell them the next day, but like you were right. Like, I didn't think about it in that way. So like even people who are like top tier at the game need to be told this stuff. Like my first ever Valorant cast, one of my friends messaged me and was like, "Oh, like you talking about the macro was great. Like it's things I don't really consider when I play Valorant."
Yeah.
The point I was making in that match is there was one team who I think it was Lotus, and you have 3 sites on Valorant. You have A, B, C for Lotus, not 3 sites for all maps, but in this case there was 3.
Yeah.
And they did B like every single time, and then they just got pooped on because every time they were going B, so the other team was like, well, they're just gonna go B again, and then they just got cooked because they just kept going B, and they were not unpredictable enough. So I like said that on cast. I was like, they keep going B, they need to change it up, otherwise they're just way too predictable. And that's what I meant. My friend messaged me being like, that was really good that you pointed out. I would have never have thought of that, to be honest. Like, I would have just kept going B.
Yeah.
And I was like,
100%.
okay.
Yeah.
So
and it makes sense.
They don't think about it all the time. Even if they know, their brain doesn't like compute it sometimes.
And it's so like I used to play competitively Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I know, cringe. But like,
No, not cringe.
Anyway, I was played in like regional leagues. So like they were like charity things, and I'd go to country towns and like people would go and whatever. And I remember that we're playing Black Ops 2, and I had a pretty decent team. Like we're pretty put together. We had all the good strats. We knew all the meta and everything else was good. But they brought in, I can't remember what they were, but they were like a pro team. Like they were one of the best in Australia.
Oh boy.
And it's like, okay. And like everything we were trying to do, they were already doing it. They were just quicker, you know, and it was so hard. So it became like a battle for third place. But then
that's a shame.
I know. But it's like, because we knew the meta and they were doing the meta, I'm like, okay, well, what are the things that people do to annoy us? All right, we're going to do that now. And
so
then,
true.
and it threw them so far off their game that like they you know that meme where like they sit forward, it's like locked in. Yeah, they had to lock in because they're like, that's yeah, it was so wild because like they expected us to be on the point, but they didn't expect us to have riot shields and shotguns. It's like
I mean, like my favorite teams of all time, like across esports, are either the team that plays the game perfectly, like no notes, just beautiful gameplay, or the unpredictable, chaotic madmen.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's what we had to do.
Valorant, anyone listening would know about Paper X, who are the chaotic madmen and also probably the best team in the world. For Overwatch, we had the Chengdu Hunters. And in Valorant as well, we have Edward Gaming. And I always just loved those chaotic teams because being unpredictable is actually a huge asset.
Yeah.
Especially in Overwatch. Like, people fucking struggle with that. In Valorant, you can kind of just out-aim anyone and it doesn't super end up mattering. Aggressiveness is sometimes hard to combat, but unpredictability usually like is fine. But in Overwatch, because it's like very, very, very scrim based, if you can't scrim a team that plays this fuck ass composition, then like you're just gonna lose.
That's exactly right. It's the same. That's the same.
Yeah, that's everyone playing Chengdu Hunters for like 3 years. Is they're like, why the hell are they playing the hamster? No one in the world plays the hamster. I don't know how to play against this, and they just kept winning. Yeah. W for them.
Yeah, we didn't win, but you know, we definitely got we gave it our all. But it was just like
rustled their feathers, and that's important.
I remember we did like scrims and everything, and it's just esports is just next level stuff. But I remember playing with these guys, and like, oh, you have to listen, like you have to be silent while you're moving up to your point, and they're like, because you hear this like ting noise. I'm like, okay, no, yeah. So they've touched this barrel, which means they're doing this strat. They're setting up for this strat here, and you'll find them in these 3 different spots right there. I'm like, okay, it's like, that's what it was. It was intense, and I think I stopped playing competitive Call of Duty when, and it's not even a joke, we picked up a kid who was 14 from McDonald's, and he outplayed all of us. Like he could one man a team. I'm like hand-eye coordination or just pure skill. I don't know what it was. At the McDonald's, maybe. I don't know. No, he was a god.
The kids are good. The kids are good. It's like something we struggled with in Overwatch for a while is the Overwatch League, which was like tier 1, was 18 and over. But you would have, the longer the game went on, and we're seeing this for Valorant now, but with Overwatch, we really got it for a while, is that like at the beginning of Overwatch, it was all like Team Fortress 2 players and some like ex other game players. And for Valorant, obviously a lot of ex-CS players.
Yeah.
But then you get those kids further in the life of the esport and the life of the game, where that's the only competitive game that they've played. And they've played it consistently since they were 12. And those kids are crazy because like they grew up playing the game. They know fucking everything about it. Their mechanics are nuts because they're young and their wrists are still usable.
Yeah, literally that. And
So
and
it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely an eye opener where, okay, well, I'm a content creator, I'm like a gamer, I'm making YouTube videos and stuff at this point, and I'm like, no, I'm not cracked like this guy, and so I just did charity things from there onwards. But yeah, it was amazing, and I remember he like at a previous event, I saw him there, and like he just rocked up and he didn't have a team because he just didn't know anyone, and they made him a team. This is not even a joke. Like they got up on stage, and it was him. It was someone's dad that was there chaperoning him, and there's the other two guys who were like splitting a bucket of KFC on stage at the same time while playing a game.
That's beautiful.
And that was his team, and they still won because he just carried them. And I'm like, this guy on my team from now on. That's it. Yeah, it was nuts. But mindful of time, we have one more thing that we do need to talk about before we wrap things up. And some people who have seen the DreamHack episode that we just went up the last one went up, will know that we always tend to ask at the end of the stream of what's next or what's your sort of aspirations. What is the thing that you want to get? Is it like a brand deal? Is it whatever it is? And the twist is that what we've discovered is a lot of people that have answered it have already had it all come true for them. So it's manifesting at this point.
Okay. So, I'll manifest. I'll do one per like area, I guess.
Okay.
But for casting, my goal for Valorant is VCT Pacific. VCT Pacific is the tier 1 like league. Like if anyone knows about League of Legends, it's like the LCK of Valorant, but instead of being all Korean teams, it's all Asia Pacific teams. So there's only 3 Korean teams, and then there's like a Thai team, a Philippines team, a Singaporean team. It's very like diverse.
Yeah.
But Ricey and I are doing Game Changers at the moment. And someone from Game Changers Philippines ended up getting promoted to VCT Pacific.
Okay.
So I think if we do a good job, there is a serious chance.
Nice.
So my goal is VCT Pacific and to do a cast or to work in Korea. That's like it's my big boy goal.
That's a good one.
I'd love to. Like OS has been like a lovely home, but you can only grow so much with casting in Oceania. There's not a lot of opportunities, and also the players are very different in terms of gameplay and like what they like to do. Yep. Korea is the best of the best, tippity top, especially for Overwatch. So for Valorant, definitely VCT Pacific. For Overwatch, literally anything. Like at the moment, all of our gigs for like the last little bit have been unpaid because a lot of these third parties don't have money, which is fair enough, and I'm not blaming them. And then we've been doing the community cast, which is a community cast. So like, I just want like something. I just want Blizzard to notice us and for us to get like some sort of thing. But with the esport being dismantled and being brought up again in OWCS, I don't even know the possibilities, so it's hard to like pinpoint. Something. Give us a tier 2 even. Like I would take a tier 2. Like we never got to do tier 2. So for that, in terms of streaming, I kind of just want to keep going. Like I just want to keep going at my
That's fair. That's good.
My own pace. I'm having a fun time. I do have an exciting announcement that's coming out on the Tuesday, which would have been one of my big goals, which I'm excited about. When does the podcast come out?
This will go up before Tuesday, so
okay, I can't.
No spoilers.
Say.
No spoilers. Then you have to tune in Tuesday.
You'll have to look at my stream on Tuesday. Apart from that, I don't know. Like I know a lot of people are like, I want to make a partner, but that sounds really stressful to me. Like having to meet that marker for so long.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just focused on building my community and having as much fun as possible, and getting recognized more by the games that I stream.
That's legit. That's legit. Yeah. That's a good one.
And then cosplay, I don't know. Let me
just
cosplay for an event that's not esports. Because sometimes I get approached and they're like, can you cosplay for an event? And it's an esports event. And then I have to be like, can I cast instead? And they're like, oh, yeah. So find me an event I can be paid to cosplay at. That is not esports because I want to cast it.
This is what happens when you wear too many hats. You can't wear two hats in one event. Yeah.
And then my last goal is I want the Game Expo to pop off again next year. And I want us to be bigger and better as always. And I want more people to come, and I want to have more creators. I want to have more artists. I want it to be like when they think of like the 3 cons in Melbourne, I want them to think PAX, DreamHack, the Game Expo.
It'd be nice.
That's my goal. Yeah.
They're good. They're good goals. Absolutely. And I feel you. And like, it's good. Like, you are wearing a lot of hats. Let's be honest. But I think it's very clear that your passions lie in casting and esports.
Yeah, it does.
And it's
really
good
does.
that you've got if anyone ever asks me about esports stuff now, I'm just gonna be like, don't even talk to me. Just go talk to Gem. It's like the expert. All right, that's that will go for it, and that's good. It's good that you're in that position, and opportunities will come if you're passionate about stuff.
Definitely,
and you work towards it, you always get it. So that's good. But
yeah,
thanks so much for joining me on the podcast. Where can people find you? Do you want to give a quick self promo?
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok as the Gem Cosplay. It's Gem as in G, like a solid gem, the Gem Cosplay. And then you can find me on Twitch at CelestaEN. I stream under a different name on Twitch because of the law. I kind of wish I never did that. But whatever. I have too many things with my name as CelestaEN now, so it is what it is. But
it is what it is. That's
on Twitch. And you can find me on almost every match thread for an Overwatch game or a Valorant game on Reddit at the top comments. Because I comment on a lot of them.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming. And if you have listened to the podcast this far, give us a like, give us a comment. If there is someone you'd like us to approach to be on the podcast, nominate someone in the comments below and I will reach out to them. Sometimes they read my messages. Sometimes they don't. See what happens. And otherwise, thanks for listening and have a good time. And see you all later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.